Welcome to Ode to Games. My name is Logan Plant. It's E3 week. Today I'm joined by Kevin Valine. How's it going, Kev?
That was an E3. I definitely was. Doing good.
It was. Yeah, it was something else. We're
there
also
was there
joined
was
by
good and
Zach
bad.
Ross. Hello, Zach.
Hi, I am also disappointed in E3.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Wow.
He's throwing
Just
out the word
throwing out
disappointed.
accusations.
I'm a little disappointed.
So it's over. Everything from E3, all the events are wrapped up. Took place throughout the entire weekend. There were events every day to a varying degree of success. So we're going to get into the biggest announcements from most of these things. But why don't we just start in general? How did you guys feel overall about E3? Zach just hinted that you're disappointed. Kevin, what were your thoughts?
Uh, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed. Like I look at the top two presentations, and I thought they were pretty solid. Nintendo and Microsoft. One was better than the other, but I thought they both had at least decent to good showings. And then the rest of it was basically meh to me. And then there were some that I just didn't even watch whatsoever. So to me, I'm kind of torn on it. There was good in there, but there was also a lot of mediocre and bad.
Zach?
Yeah, I would agree. Overall, I would say I'm a little disappointed just because I expected more. I do think Microsoft had an okay presentation, and Nintendo obviously stood out among the rest as having a pretty great presentation. But I think everything else, like especially Square Enix and Ubisoft, they were just hard to sit through at times.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, this was like, man, I'm glad that it happened, but did we really need all this? Like, if you don't have something substantial to show, do you need to put together a 1 hour long press conference? Like,
Specifically, how
Ubisoft.
long some of these were.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and it's like I watched the Nintendo Direct, which we're going to talk about first, because definitely had the most stuff in addition to Xbox, had a lot too. And you just feel the pacing in an event like that and how much they fit into 40 minutes. And you look at Ubisoft, which was like over an hour, and what they had in comparison. I feel that way about all of them. Like, Microsoft's pacing was okay, but then they're like, okay, now we're going to talk about Forza Horizon for the next 15 minutes. And yeah, that game looked great, but I wish that everyone just rolled through their announcements and then was like, okay, we're going to do our deep dives afterwards, just to keep the ball rolling a little bit. And then the Square Enix presentation specifically was maybe the worst I have ever sat through and watched. It
20
was
minutes
20
of Guardians of
minutes
the
of
Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, followed by a ton of mobile stuff, and then Life is Strange, which it looks good, but we basically already knew everything they talked about, and it was this like basically it was longer than the Nintendo presentation, and they talked about like 7 things. It was ridiculous. That Final Fantasy collection that leaked that everyone was super excited about. Oh, it's mobile and Steam only. It's like, yeah, yeah. So I thought overall it was pretty mediocre. I think it's just showing the impact the pandemic is still having on developers that some stuff just wasn't ready to show. Like there were a lot of games I feel like that we know about that didn't even make an appearance that have been announced for quite a long time. Actually, I think that's the main weakness from the Nintendo Direct. Let's get into that now. No Metroid Prime 4, no Bayonetta 3, only a little bit of Zelda. The little bit was great, but those kind of big question marks for maybe 2022, maybe 2021, but probably beyond, didn't really show up. But let's talk about what was there. They opened up with the next Smash character. They only announced one out of the two left, so there's still one left in the DLC pass before it wraps up. And Zach, who is it?
It's Kazuya Mishima from the Tekken franchise, which I did not see coming. I know neither of you saw it coming.
Nope.
I'm sure there was some speculation, and there has been in the past that a Tekken character would come for some Bandai Namco representation like Pac-Man, but everyone was thinking it was Heihachi Mishima, which is this guy's dad, but I don't know. He would have been the pick because he's more of a flagship face who's been in a bunch of other games, like he's been in Soul Calibur, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, bunch of other small things. Like he's the go-to, you pull this character out of Tekken to get some Tekken representation in other games. So it's an interesting choice that they went with Kazuya. The trailer was amazing. I thought it was really funny how he just kept throwing other characters off of cliffs because that's kind of his MO. He gets it from his dad because his dad also threw him off a cliff, so it might be genetic. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a really it was a really funny trailer, and I am more than happy with this pick. I know Logan's never played a Tekken game, and these are the last two characters coming to Smash, probably. So there's a lot of high expectations for who they're going to be. So I think Logan was a little disappointed. I was happy, but Logan's a bigger Smash fan than I am, so I'm a little disappointed for him. But I thought it was a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I think it's a cool ad. Yeah, you just kind of summed it up well. There was only 2 slots left. If there had been like 6 slots left, I'd have been cool. Why the heck not? But now I'm like, shoot. Now everyone's chances who I'm
everybody you want
just got sliced in.
Yeah, exactly. Has a much lower chance.
I did really like the trailer though. I thought it was we'll talk about the Ganondorf a little bit later, but I did like how it opened up and it was a really cool moment dropping Ganondorf into the volcano, and then it turned comical when he just kept doing it over and over to all these other characters. And I saw this tweet that was like, the only way Nintendo could lose this E3 was if they literally murdered Captain Falcon in their presentation, and then he's one of the characters that they chuck into the pit, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, he's got this demon mode, which I know nothing about, but that looked like kind of his unique thing compared to the
It's called the Devil Gene. That actually is genetic. He gets it from his mother.
Yeah, that looked really cool. I think it is cool that another like kind of staple fighting franchise is now represented within Smash Bros. Just like Fatal Fury with Terry and Street Fighter with Ryu and Ken. So I'm fine with it. I thought it was pretty cool. Kevin, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool for the Tekken fans. I've only played a little bit of Tekken. And yeah, if I was going to pick any of the characters, I would probably pick Heihachi because he is the one. I feel like he's the one on like some of the boxes, and he's the one that everybody knows.
I think he already has a Mii Fighter costume in Smash Bros.
Maybe that's why he can't have the Mii Fighters
I think maybe they just wanted to lean a little further away from PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale because he is the playable character in that. And I don't know. They might want to disassociate from that game because it's just
does he have anything unique like the Devil Gene, or is he more
he doesn't he's a human, so this probably lends to a better playing style and a more unique character. I think that's probably also a good reason why they chose him.
That is what Sakurai always says, that for someone to get added they have to do something that nobody else does, and so maybe that was the reason.
Technically not true because his son also does it, but
he's got a son.
I prefer yeah, well it never ends, right? But, yeah pretty much just him for what he can do.
I mean, that no one else in Smash does. Like, if he was just a fighter, he'd be like Ryu Dead. So
absolutely, exactly.
But yeah,
but cool ad there.
Tekken fans, it's cool. Yeah, I'm not personally attached to it, but I think there's a good group of people that are really excited by this. But now there is a lot of pressure for that possible last fighter. Like yeah, it's down. It was down to the last 2, and if you're not a big fan of it, then it is a little bit disappointing. But man, if this is indeed the last fighter coming up here, what is it going to be? And
it's got to be big.
How are they going to pull it off? Because you can't please everybody. You just can't. Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious what they're going to do for this last fighter, because that is going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Wrapping up this game, the first fighter's pass ended with Byleth, which would not have been a good finish.
They can't do that for the second fighter pass. I mean, they could, but. Yeah.
And Smash 4 ended with Bayonetta, which was the winner of the ballot. So that was a pretty big deal that she got added. But yeah, we'll see. I do love just whenever a new franchise gets added, because it does mean a whole new legion of fans have some sort of character represented for them. So it was a cool ad. What I'm wondering is, why didn't they just reveal the last one? Because like 2 years ago at E3, they showed off both, even though Banjo was a long ways out. And the presentation didn't even reach 40 minutes. It was 38 minutes. So it's not like they were short on time. So I'm just wondering what's the deal with that. I have a theory. I think it's a Breath of the Wild 2 character that we don't know who it is yet, but they weren't ready to show.
Yeah,
that'd
be actually a pretty good theory.
That'd be a really cool finish, I think. Add someone from Nintendo's most hyped upcoming game. I think that would go well. Let's talk about Breath of the Wild. Let's go from beginning to end. Breath of the Wild, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, they're still not calling it anything. They don't have an official title. There was actually a little breakout interview that said if they shared the title, it would give away some of the story.
A little bit too much, yep.
And fans are already going a little wild. I'm going to get deep into the Zelda lore that you guys probably don't care about in a minute. But let's just talk about what we saw from this sequel to Breath of the Wild. It opens up with a little bit of the same of what we saw 2 years ago. Underground, this malice energy kind of surrounding Link. And then Zelda falls through this giant pit that opens up in the ground, and it flashes, and Link is falling from the sky, looks just like it does when he's skydiving in Skyward Sword, and we see he's got this corrupted arm, Like his arm looks completely different. It's been infected by the malice. Instead of the Sheikah Slate abilities, he's using these abilities directly from his arm. His hair is back, flowing through the wind. He's wearing this tattered half green tunic. He looks like a completely different man. And we see this montage of short gameplay snippets, both of him up on these new little islands, going from island to island, seeing this new type of technology, new type of architecture, to Hyrule down below, and seeing like a stone talus with the bokoblins that built like a base on top of a stone talus, which is super cool, and a few other things. And it kind of wraps up with showing once again Hyrule Castle lifting up into the air. And then a release date of 2022. Eiji Aonuma made it very clear we're aiming for a 2022 release date, which does not inspire a whole lot of confidence in when this thing is going to come out. But I love this trailer. I'll let you guys go first. Kevin, what do you think of this look at the sequel to Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, it's interesting that the timing of it all with Skyward Sword HD coming out really soon here, that they would kind of go back to that idea of going through the sky. I'm curious how they'll do a sort of traversal thing, because with Skyward Sword you had your loft wing where you were able to kind of go up and down at will and be able to fly through the sky, whereas here they showed you using your glider basically to glide through the air. So I'm wondering, because it looked like the islands were on like different levels, like some looked like they were a little bit higher than others. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like pockets of air that shoot you up higher so that you can do that, or if that's just an ability. Maybe he has some abilities.
Wasn't there was a point where he like phased through the ground, right? Like he turned into a liquid
like a water
and like
droplet
pop.
and like
he sucked
there might
the
be
water back up and then like
Sheikah
went
power
through the ground
through his arm, where he can just like go up in a straight line through and then like materialize through an island. I have no idea. It just looked kind of weird.
Yeah, so I'm curious how they're gonna pull that off, but it is a good idea, since they're like, hey, we're gonna be using the same map, or at least a similar map from Breath of the Wild. How do you make it different? You go up into the sky and create all of these islands to explore. Makes a lot of sense.
And I love it. We have been sitting, based on that first reveal in 2019, when they are underground, like in the catacombs, rats on the ground. They come across what we presume to be Ganondorf, this skeleton laying. We thought it was going to be like this dark, dank, cavernous game. And then 2 years later, it's like a total bait and switch. They're like, psych, we're not going underground. We're going to the sky. And I thought that was such a cool thing. I thought that was such a cool reveal. Because Zelda falls through the earth, and you're like, oh, wow, so we are going underground. And then it's like, nope, just kidding. I thought that was such a cool moment in that trailer. Zach, what do you think of it?
I think the trailer overall, I liked it a lot. I think that one of the things I was worried about is that this game wouldn't stand out a lot from Breath of the Wild in terms of feel and aesthetic, but the new way that Link looks, his new outfit with the green tunic and the whole arm concept of his powers flowing through his arm, and the addition of Sky Cities, and I'm sure with the, pushing the power of the Switch, maybe more lively worlds and stuff like the outpost on the stone talus. That's just a bunch of cool stuff that I think is going to make this game stand out a lot more. So I'm not super worried on that aspect anymore. I am a little disappointed that it looks like Zelda dies in the beginning of the game and will not be playable in any form of co-op. I know a lot of people were looking forward to maybe playing as Zelda in this game, but so far all we've seen is Zelda falls down a cliff. She's probably not dead, but the rest of the game just seemingly Link so far, but we don't know how it's going to play out. There's still plenty of time between now and the release. Hopefully we get some more information by the end of the year. Hopefully a title. I don't know. It'd be weird if they just wait till the release to give us a title to avoid spoilers, but right now it looks good. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So I think that I think you do play as Zelda. This is one of my
you got theories?
Well, there's a lot of theories, and I like to get into all of them because I think they're all really interesting. I'll be brief, though, because I know we have a lot to talk about. But there's two main schools of thought right now. Number one, I love, and it's that Skyward Sword is coming out for a reason, because the story of Breath of the Wild 2 is going to directly link to Skyward Sword. If you care about the spaghetti soup that is the Zelda timeline, Skyward Sword kicks it all off, right? And then Breath of the Wild is the latest game by far in the timeline, right? It's Skyward Sword, some other stuff happens, it splits into 3 branches at Ocarina of Time, and then thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, those timelines all converge to Breath of the Wild. And now people think that Breath of the Wild 2 links back to Skyward Sword. People think that with everything lifting stuff into the sky, which is kind of like the legend of Skyward Sword, if you don't know, it's like, yeah, the Hylians, the world below wasn't safe anymore, so the original Hylians decided to lift civilization into the air to protect them from the world down below. People think that's what's going to happen into this game, making the entire Zelda timeline essentially a circle, which would be super cool if they made this a prequel to the first game, and it's the latest game, but it's also the first game. That would be really cool, and to see them go hardcore into the lore like that, I think would be awesome. And then the other school of thought right now is that the Link we're seeing in like the ratty green tunic with his hair back is, I don't know if you guys remember this part of the Breath of the Wild story, but there was an initial war 10,000 years prior to the start of Breath of the Wild where the Guardians, Zelda, Link, and the original four champions all fought to defeat Calamity Ganon the first time. And that's when Calamity Ganon was defeated 10,000 years ago. And if you take a look like at the image of the hero, he has like a corrupted arm and he's wearing like half green shirt, and it looks like what Link looks like in this thing. So now people are like, does it take place partially 10,000 years in the past? That's another theory that's going around right now, which I think is pretty cool. And my big theory, I think they're pulling a Last of Us Part 2 on us, because there's two Links in this trailer. I think that's indisputable. There's the Link who is in the sky area, who has the very corrupted arm and is wearing this different gear and has the hair back and just looks very different. Actually, never show his face, which is interesting. And then there's the Link we're used to seeing, who's down on Hyrule below, wearing the champion's garb, seeing bokoblins using his glider. I think it's a bait and switch. I think when you play down below in Hyrule, I think you're Zelda. I think they're just showing Link in the trailers. And I think that when you're up above in this new zone, you're Link. Whatever Link that is, whether it's current Link or 10,000 years ago Link. But I do think it's a split protagonist, and I think it's like when The Last of Us did some things with characters in the trailers that weren't actually the characters that were there in the final game. And we only have to wait like over a year to find out if I'm right.
We only have to wait an unknown amount of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll all remember exactly that.
But trailer, I thought it was so good, and it got me hyped for the game, even though 2022, no window. And I think it might even not even come out next year. I can see it.
They didn't seem.
2023.
It did not seem very confident.
Yeah, but they said they don't really have anything else planned for Zelda's anniversary. They showed off a Game & Watch like they did for Mario. They showed off Skyward HD again, and they showed off Breath of the Wild 2. So great trailer. Super excited for that game. Big surprise, Metroid Dread is coming on October 8th. And this one blindsided me because Metroid Dread is a canceled title from early 2000s that was supposed to be the sequel to Metroid Fusion. It got scrapped. They didn't feel like they could pull off the concept of having this thing chase you throughout the game on their current hardware. And now 15 years later, it's coming back, which is super exciting. Full Switch title. It's the first original Metroid side-scroller since 2002. Which is just insane. We had Samus Returns, the remake, but the first new entry in 19 years. So pretty crazy. Kevin, what'd you think of the Metroid Dread reveal?
Yeah, I didn't know as I was watching it the history behind Metroid Dread specifically. So reading up on that and realizing that it was this canceled project from 15 years ago was super cool. So really excited for all the fans that have been waiting for this and have been talking about this since like 2005 that it's finally going to happen. And just crazy that it's been 19 years and that 19 years ago was 2002 and not the 90s is a little weird to me sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks good. It's being done by Mercury Steam, the same guys who did Samus Returns. It looks like Samus Returns, but cleaned up. Obviously not on the 3DS, same style, but upgraded for Switch. The chase mechanic looks really cool. I like the design of these androids, basically. The android machine that is chasing you around. Yeah, it looks really good. I wonder if it'll sell well, is my question. A 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania for $60. I wonder how many people are going to... Especially because it is part of a relatively long-running series, at least story-wise. And from what I've heard, at least in developer interviews afterwards, that they're going to try and wrap up a specific part of the story with this one.
Yes, they did
So,
say, but hey, you can still jump on if this
so,
is your first one. They
so
tried to make that clear.
I know that Metroid is not the best performer in terms of sales. So I hope this one does well, and I hope it's good because it does look very good. And I know people have been wanting this style of Metroid, a new game, for a long time. So it looks good, and I hope it does well.
Yeah. Yeah. Zach?
Yeah, I don't have a very long history with the Metroid series. I've never actually played one. I've had plans to play one in recent years. Still haven't tried out any of them. After seeing this trailer, I think it looks great. I think the style is very clean. I like the 2D type of game. Logan and I were talking about the chase mechanic, harkening like being very Resident Evil, like the Tyrant from Resident Evil 2 or Nemesis from 3, and it's just that chase that gets the adrenaline going and keeps your heart pumping while you're trying to
Yeah.
figure out your way through this. I think that's a super cool mechanic, and I don't think it's in any other Metroid. I think this is like a new thing for the franchise. Um, and I am a little hesitant to hop in so late into the game. Um, I don't know if I'd go back and play all of them. I think this is the fifth one in the series. Is that right?
And on
Five?
Switch,
Yeah,
you can only play the
it's the
first
fifth 2D
two,
Metroid.
right? Which you got the
Oh,
original
that's fun.
Metroid and Super
Yeah.
on.
Okay. And then
That's not.
the
That's the Super Metroid 3. You got Metroid 2,
Oh, Metroid.
Return of Samus,
Oh,
which
so
is
you'd
the
have to
3DS
pick up the
remake.
3DS version, which is probably hard
Yeah.
to find because it was a very late
all right.
3DS game.
Yeah, it's
This is why
it's 20
I'm a
bucks
little
digitally.
hesitant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if this is the right hopping in point for me, but I think the game looks pretty good. Happy for fans of the franchise. Cool name, Dread. That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah,
Um,
it is a cool
so
name.
we'll see in the future
Yeah.
if I decide to pick it up, but right now I think it looks great.
I do think it will sell very well. I think it'll
Yeah.
hands down be the best-selling Metroid game. The only one, the one it has to beat is Metroid Prime. The best-selling Metroid game sold 2.84 million.
I'm surprised that one sold
And-
more than Prime 3 since it was on Wii, but
Yeah, people just did not care. And what did Other M's sold 1.3 million?
that was other end. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that everything is breaking its own records on Switch. I don't see why Metroid wouldn't be the same. I think that the Nintendo hype is at its highest, and I think that this kind of feels like the big fall game. Like the Pokemon remakes come out in November, but there's Pokemon every dang year. So I think if you're looking for like a big first party single player game this fall, I think it's this. So I think that will help it a lot. The fact that Zelda isn't 4 weeks after Metroid, I think, or something like Super Mario Odyssey 2, I think that helps it. But yeah, I thought this game looked really cool. I thought Samus's new suit design was awesome. There's 2 new amiibo, which are coming out too.
The
One of
amiibo look
Samus
good.
and one
Amiibo
of
coming
the-
back.
one of the Android thing. They are coming back. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. But the 2D Metroids, let me just read you the sales numbers. The original on NES, 2.73 million. It's
Okay.
respectable. Super Metroid, 1.42 million. So already a pretty large drop off in comparison. Metroid Fusion, 1.6 million.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh god.
Metroid Zero Mission, 915,000.
What was that on?
That was a GBA game.
That was also GBA. Okay.
Yeah, it came out the same day as Metroid Prime. 2 Metroid games in one day,
Oh wow.
which was interesting. And then Metroid Samus Returns
Ooh.
sold by estimates 560,000.
Yikes. That game needs a second life on Switch.
It does. They ruined it. It came out after the Switch was already out, and they didn't even announce it in their E3 presentation. They announced it at the Treehouse afterwards.
Yeah,
It's why didn't you?
They
show
sent that
this?
thing to die.
Yeah, better than Federation Force, which according to this chart says it sold 150,000 copies.
Oh
yeah,
my
that
god.
had its own set of issues.
Yeah, yeah, but I think this game looks really cool. I've never been able to get as into the Metroid series as I've wanted to. You guys know I'm not super big on Metroidvanias, but if there was a Metroid series to get into, it would be Metroid.
Right.
Yeah.
Metroidvania
I played-
type game. Yeah. Metroid.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Super Metroid, never finished it. I played a lot of Samus Returns, and I didn't finish that, but I'm gonna try and finish at least one of those before this comes out because this one looked really cool, and I do wanna pick it up. And I just think it's so cool that a game is coming back after 15 years and after like its incredibly rumored history. There's a tease for this game in Metroid Prime 3.
I was seeing
Like
that.
there's like a
Yeah.
data file you can scan, and it says Project Metroid Dread is nearing completion. And here it is,
Nearing
15 years later.
completion.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was a super cool reveal, and I think it's awesome they kept that title because I recognized it instantly, and I think a lot of Nintendo fans did as well. So really cool in there. Mario Party Superstars, new Mario Party coming out, remake 5 Nintendo 64 boards, along with 100 classic mini games, and they're actually good ones. The top 100 selection on 3DS is terrible. They're really bad. And this one actually looked like some of the best mini games the franchise has to offer. I'm super excited for this. Some people unhappy this wasn't DLC for Super Mario Party because that game never really got added content. But it is a new game for $60. It does have online play straight up on day one. Thoughts on this one?
Looks good. I'm very glad that they didn't pull a Mario Party the top 100 and be like, hey, here's all these mini games, no boards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was a horrendous idea with that game. And that since the boards on the original Super Mario Party on Switch were relatively lacking, I'm hoping that these N64 boards will be a little bit more substantial, even if they don't reach like the crazy complicated heights of something like the GameCube or even like the Wii ones with the Wii One on Mario Party 8 with some of those boards. But I think that they'll offer a better board experience than what Super Mario Party offered. And 100 mini games. That is a lot to offer, and a lot of them look really good.
And they're going back to just controls, button controls.
Yeah.
It's no motion, no single Joy-Con.
Which makes sense because it is old Mario Party games, which they didn't have the Joy-Cons for in the N64, so they had to use them controllers. So it would make sense to be able to use them with a regular controller, which is great. More accessibility, being able to use all the controllers. I've had that happen before, where I was playing with friends and I brought my Pro Controller over. I'm like, let's play Mario Party, and then I'm like, oh wait, I can't do that. The Pro Controller doesn't work. I gotta rip out my Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that all controllers are getting supported with this. Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, looks really good. Zach, you're not a big Mario Party guy.
Yeah, I have played prior entries in the series and the most recent one. Nothing pre-GameCube though, so this would all be completely new to me, the boards and the mini games included, I assume. So definitely excited for the fact that I probably without this would never have played any of those boards or games. So looking forward to the fact that Logan's going to buy this, and I'm sure he's going to make me play it. So I won't have to buy it, but I'm glad that I'll have the chance to experience this.
Did they say that all of the minigames were also from N64, or was that not limited?
Nope, there's GameCube ones in there.
Okay, so I might have played some of those.
Ones, but there are GameCube ones in there for sure.
All right.
There's probably not any Wii ones because they basically all
shake the can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like some of my Coney Island is one of my favorite mini games of all time. It's in Mario Party 5. And you're standing on this giant ice cream cone, and you're holding a mini ice cream cone, and you walk around and catch ice cream balls that are falling from the sky, and you have to get the tallest stack. That's a classic. That's in there. Eats a Pizza, a 2v2, where you have to mash the button and move around this pizza to eat it faster than the other team. The other half of the pizza. Yeah, there were some really classic ones there, but yeah, this is honestly more exciting to me than Super Mario Party 2 because I think the boards and mini games in that wouldn't have been as good as these ones will be. And the Mario Party games are really expensive and not very accessible. So the fact that these mini games and stuff are being brought back is kind of a big deal.
I hope this is kind of I don't know what they do with the mini games since there's 100 and they're doing it from all of them. But I would at the very least like the idea of, especially because the last couple of games with the boards haven't been that great, if they would go back to the well of previous games, maybe the next one you use GameCube boards. Or maybe if they want to do add-on content for this, which they probably won't if Super Mario Party was anything to go off of, but if they decided to add GameCube boards later on, whether that be unpaid free DLC or maybe even like a paid DLC thing, I think that going back to some of these previous games that people love with the boards that are actually good would be a really good idea.
Yeah, at least it is starting with online support. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's like when they added it to Super Mario Party, it's almost like, okay, we're getting into Party. Why else would they come back to this after like 2 years of radio silence about this game? But yeah, super cool. What I loved about this direct, and I think Kevin mentioned this too right after he watched it when he messaged us about it, is that like the first party stuff from Nintendo is not like their huge franchises. Like, yeah, we had a look at Zelda, but the stuff they announced for this year, Metroid, Mario Party, WarioWare, which we haven't talked about yet, Advance Wars, which you also haven't talked about yet, it's like really small niche stuff. And it's super
Yeah.
cool to see them kind of filling out the Switch lineup with these titles that I kind of felt like it was lacking. Like the Switch has so much Mario, and Mario is great, but now we're getting some other stuff, including another Mario with Mario Party. But
A
yeah.
little different.
But speaking of WarioWare, get it together, coming out September 10th for $50, just like that Nintendo poll asked, would you pay 50 for this? So that's coming out, and it's the first WarioWare with simultaneous two-player co-op, and that looked great. And kind of the hook for this one is you're actually controlling mini cartoon versions of Wario and all the other WarioWare characters, like Ashley, the guy with the blue afro, the like, video game kid. I don't know any of their names.
Random character.
Yeah, 9 volt, I think is his name. Yeah, 4 volt, something like that.
Wario's
but
children.
it looked really really great. I'm super excited. That's coming.
Does with these different characters, it looked kind of interesting that they were able to play the minigames differently. Have any of the other WarioWare games had that, or all the minigames play the same when you play them? Because I was seeing like different ones where like with an
They all
apple
have
tree,
different powers.
and
Yeah.
depending on who you play as, you have to do a different thing to get the apples from the tree. I thought that was a cool way to extend out some of these minigames by having different character abilities. I haven't played any of the other WarioWare games, so I didn't know if any of the other games had something similar to that or not, where different minigames played different.
Yeah,
depending on the character.
WarioWare Smooth Moves on Wii has like 10 different ways to hold the Wii remote, and then it tells you right as the game's starting how you have to hold it. And then
Okay.
it starts, and then you hold it in that way, which is pretty cool. And then WarioWare Gold does this pretty cool thing where it combines button control, tilting control, and touchscreen control from all the different handheld versions of WarioWare. And there's also a mode where it tells you which one it is right as you're going in. So they've always been really good about keeping the gameplay fresh within these 5-second chunks. Like you don't feel like you're hitting A at a random time to do a random thing every time. Like, yeah, because you do have to think fast and react and do something different each time. But I thought it looked really cool, and I'm excited for the multiplayer. I think that could work out really fun.
Yeah, looks good. $50. I guess enough people responded to that poll saying yes, they would pay $50.
I'm happy it's not 60. I'm happy
Thank
to pay
God,
50
yeah.
for WarioWare.
Man,
Yeah, I've always wanted to play a WarioWare, so this is exciting.
$10
Yeah,
cheaper.
looks good. And then Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. It's the campaigns from the original two Advance Wars being developed by Way Forward, actually. And looked really cool. It kind of has like a toy-like aesthetic, which I think works like playing with like army men. Like
Well,
a lot
yeah,
of kids do,
and
so.
looking at Japan box art, that was the style they were going for, at least on the box art.
Mm-hmm.
They would have like the little toy soldiers on the box, so it kind of makes sense that they would go for that look in the actual game. It looked good.
I never thought this franchise would come back. I thought it was dead forever. I thought this was with like F-Zero and things like that I don't think are ever coming back. But now I'm like, maybe F-Zero isn't dead. Like Advance can come back. That thing's sold like garbage. Like anything can come back.
Yeah, I feel like the announcement of Advance Wars basically opens it up to any series. You've got all of these things where it's like, Nintendo doesn't care, they're not going to bring it back. But Advance Wars, people have been talking about this thing for years of like, where is Advance Wars? Bring it back. Maybe
Meanwhile, they just pumped Fire Emblem out after Fire Emblem over at Intelligent Systems.
Well, now it's not Intelligent Systems doing it. Maybe that's why, because they've got somebody else to do it. But maybe it is also like the changing times in terms of what people like. Fire Emblem is more popular than ever, and you've got other studios coming out with games inspired by Advance Wars that seemingly do well. Wargroove, Logan's favorite game of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But like a lot of companies are going to this type of game and making them, and they seem to do really well. So maybe it's like, hey, tastes are starting to change. Maybe these games will sell a lot better with this current crop of people who play games.
Yeah.
Now's the time to bring Advance Wars back, and it's one that I'm definitely looking at as possibly picking up. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks really good. Zach, any thoughts on this one as a recent Fire Emblem fan who played Three Houses?
Yeah, I thought that the gameplay in Three Houses was actually really fun. I don't play games like that often. I think they're called real-time strategy, RTS.
No, it's it's strategy RPG.
Strategy RPG. So yeah, I don't have a lot of a lot of experience with those types of games, but it did look good. I do dig the toy aesthetic. I'd never heard of Advance Wars before prior to this, so I don't have any attachment to the series, but something potentially worth checking out.
Something I'm excited about it for is that Fire Emblem is popular because of its relationship building, and they have really leaned super heavily into that. And I think I've voiced before that my biggest issue with Fire Emblem Three Houses, it was too focused on that, and the fighting design suffered. And Advance Wars has none of that. Like, most of the characters don't even have names. It's like, oh, this is a battalion, this is a tank,
Yeah.
and you just move them and use them. And I'm excited for that just return to a game by the same designers initially. Intelligent Systems. It's just going to be straight up strategy. I think that's going to be cool, but still with a good story, just not as much of that interpersonal relationship. You pick who gets married and who has babies.
Yeah, the tank and the infantry really getting together. What do you get?
You never know.
The tank and infantry.
Little missile.
Little like cyborgs or something.
Yeah, so that was an awesome. Yeah, I just was blown away with what Nintendo brought to this thing, and none of it leaked. We didn't know about any of this stuff.
No.
So we knew about
awesome. We knew about some of this stuff. Not Nintendo specifically, some third party.
Yeah, we knew about this next one.
Yep, there we go.
The next two that leaked. We'll start with this one because I have less to say about it. I don't know if Kevin has much to say about it. Shin Megami Tensei 5 official gameplay reveal looked good.
It did. The release date of November 12th leaked earlier on the Japanese website, but that means that it is basically a worldwide release, which, I mean, that release date leaked and everyone was like, oh, it's coming out. But I was like, you can never be sure with these things if they're actually going to come out day and date, everywhere. So despite it leaking, it was still good to get confirmation that, yes, it is coming out at the same time in the West. Looks good. I mean, as someone who's really only played Persona 5, some of the stuff looks very similar. Some of the monster designs are exactly the same as they are in Persona 5. And of course, you've got some other different mechanics. But yeah, it looks like a good RPG. One that I'll keep my eye on. Probably not play right away. There's a lot going on to play. But definitely one that I keep my eye on in the future.
Yeah, actually, a lot of the UI looked very similar to Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which we'll play a little bit of. But yeah, some of the combat and stuff looked a lot like that.
Also, it's just good to see that game again because, we saw it once when the Switch was coming out, and then they had that one other trailer,
like a cinematic trailer, and then the 3 remake was more of the focus in that event.
Right, and
that was a partner showcase.
That was in 2020. Yeah. That was about a year ago. So it's been a long wait for people who are excited by Shin Megami Tensei 5 news back when the Switch first was launching. So it's cool to see this thing finally come out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it was also, we've been talking about this game for a long time. It's official. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is coming out October 5th, and I don't know what to make of this freaking thing. I have no idea what to think. It's a I don't even know what it is. It's a remake.
It's a remake. It's a remake, kind of.
And Deluxe, which is a remake of 1 and 2. So
yes.
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Does Deluxe have like new mini games that they pull from?
It has some new stages, so maybe it's just like all the stages. And
maybe
but it has like 12 stages cut from the first 2. Are those stages going to be in it? Because they said it was remaking 1. I don't know. And it's in the Banana Blitz art style.
So
yes.
I don't think you're going to have any hope of them going back to the original art style. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think that this is basically the brand for Monkey Ball at this point.
And it's like, why though? Why?
Make it cuter.
The 3 games that were actually good in the art style that is synonymous with the franchise's rapid decline. Like when they were showing that montage of all the Monkey Balls, it was like 1, 2, Deluxe, Touch and Roll.
They went through
Adventure,
the other ones quick.
Banana Blitz, Step and Roll, Banana Splits, 3DS. It was like, they don't care about those because they're bad. Yeah, so I don't know. It's weird because Super Monkey Ball is a port and like updone version of the arcade game. And Super Monkey Ball Deluxe is a remake of that. So Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is a remake of an arcade port. And it's like, what is it? What's it even going to feel like? The trailer showed Gone Jumping, which kind of breaks everything and ruins the level design of some of the best levels. I hope you can turn jumping off.
That's what I was.
Can just choose not to jump, but
that's what I was seeing from some people online speculating that there's like a classic mode and I guess a normal or a new mode or Banana Blitz mode but at the very least being able to toggle that on and off, because the jumping wasn't a thing in those original games. So if you're going to put it in there, at least give people the option to say, hey, I want to do it, or hey, I want to go back to the classic style.
It's just the fact that it's in the bad style and that I saw jumping doesn't give me hope that the physics of the originals are going to be maintained, which is what makes them so good. They're perfect.
Yeah.
The physics engines are perfect in those two games. Deluxe is even a little off.
I'm worried that it is going to feel worse. I think it might just feel a little worse, even if you can turn jumping off. It might not be as crisp of physics of moving the stage and the ball rolling around.
Now, the question is GameCube controller support there? With the actual GameCube controller? As in, like...
You can use it... Oh, yeah.
More focused on that controller with how the design of the stick works.
I don't know. But you can use GameCube controller on anything on Switch. So I'm probably just going to get it there so I can use my GameCube controller. That's what we played Banana Blitz HD with the GameCube controller, and it worked. It felt bad because Banana Blitz is bad. But is this those levels remade in the Banana Blitz HD engine? I don't want that.
It's probably.
I don't know.
I would assume that's what it is. Like they wouldn't go back to Banana Blitz, make the HD version of that, and be like, hey, let's remake another game from the ground up and not using that thing that we just made for Banana Blitz. That wouldn't make any sense. But, yeah.
So I'm on the PlayStation blog right now, and it says, we're thrilled to share today that all 3 original Super Monkey Ball games, faithfully remastered for a new generation, are back. I just don't know what that means, because it's not going to be like, launch Super Monkey Ball 1, launch Super Monkey Ball 2, or launch Deluxe, where you can just play all of these, and it feels slightly worse. Like, what is the Deluxe counterpart of this? Because when I saw 1 and 2, I'm like, okay, they're just ignoring Deluxe. But then all 3 logos popped up on the screen, and yeah, it's confusing. This is being made by the Yakuza studio. The original creators of Monkey Ball are involved.
RGG.
Let's go.
I don't think they were involved
back?
I don't think they were involved in Banana Blitz HD. So maybe did they just make their own thing, or were they just like, hey, here's the engine, go make these levels? I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll find out. When's the release on this? I don't even remember.
October
5th.
And
Find
then
out
it says
sooner
there's comic
rather
book
than
style
later.
storytelling, which would be a downgrade from the cutscenes that are in Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
I'm done. But I'm buying it. It's $40. I'm buying it on day 1. All the mini games are back, which is a good thing. But yeah. And then they're adding in the garbage characters that came after the original 4. It's not just the 4
Sonic.
classics. Like they have the Sonic could return.
Sonic and Tails.
Be awesome.
Yeah. But I have no idea what this is. But it's gonna be wild. I'm excited to dig into it, and I'm glad rolled out.
This is garbage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is basically it, right? If they don't hit with a remake of the classics, like, what's the future? Really?
What? Where could they go
this
from
is
there?
the chance. Because
go ahead.
with Banana Blitz, it was like that game was already bad. So what are you gonna do?
You picked a bad one to remake.
But here, if you pick the only good ones in the entire series and you muck those
screw it up. Yeah.
then really there's really no hope for whatever comes after it.
Yeah, and I think I told you guys I was playing Banana Splits on Vita.
Oh, wonderful.
And some of the levels are just remade from 1 and 2, but they feel like garbage. So I'm just worried that's what this is.
That's the worry.
And it's like, why? I know the originals are hard to get these days, but why would I ever play this? Why would a hardcore Monkey Ball fan ever play this game if it doesn't feel as good as the originals, which hardcore Monkey Ball fans probably still have access?
I mean, maybe it's the thing. Maybe it's the same reasoning that they used to make Banana Blitz. That instead of going after that hardcore audience, which doesn't like Banana Blitz, if they went after that, they wouldn't have remade that. They're just like, hey, we've got a bunch of people that bought Banana Blitz on Wii, and then we've got this new remake. We'll just keep going after that crowd. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
Yeah. Real rapid fire through everything else that was added. We can. You guys want to spotlight, but Danganronpa Decadence, it's a collection of 3 visual novels coming, like murder mystery high school visual novels that I've wanted to play for a long time, so I was excited about that. No release date, just said this year. Cruisin' Blast, the Cruisin' series, is coming as a console exclusive. Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, which has not been over here for a long time. It's a Fatal Frame. But Monster Hunter Stories 2 got another look. Tony Hawk Pro Skater coming out June 25th. Kakarot coming
Did you
to
ever
Switch
play
on September
Kakarot?
24th. No.
Okay,
not
cool.
yet.
Nice.
Another look at Mario Golf Super Rush, Life is Strange True Colors, and the Remastered Collection are both coming out this year. And then the cloud version of Guardians of the Galaxy, which we saw all too much of in the Square Enix presentation.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other things. But all in all, I thought this was one heck of an Nintendo. I really enjoyed it. I thought the pacing was great. I thought the announcements were fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and like you mentioned earlier, it was cool to see some of these series that don't get a lot of love or don't get any in terms of like Advance Wars, where it just fell off the face of the planet for a while there. Like beyond Zelda, and I guess to a lesser extent, like Mario Party, which is kind of big, especially after the Switch version. There was a lot of stuff that that I'm not a Metroid fan. I'm not an Advance Wars fan yet, but I know that there's a bunch of fans out there that have been desperate for any news on these games, and it was really cool to see a lot of them really excited for these series to come back, or to get games that have been dead for a long time. And then the other like side stuff, even like kind of like the sizzle reels. I feel like sometimes with Nintendo Directs, the sizzle reels can be like, what is this? Like, this is bad. But for the most part, I mean, even there was some good stuff in there, with, you've got Fatal Frame, Monster Hunter, Tony Hawk and Dragon Ball were cool. Life is Strange is pretty big. Like, even the sizzle reel stuff from third parties I thought was pretty solid too. Like, all around, a pretty solid showing on basically all fronts for this.
And Zach got super hyped at the Smash reveal. He was.
I did. I was the only one
Smash
in the world.
Yeah. Sweet. Let's talk about Microsoft. They showed 30 games. 27 of them are coming to Game Pass. I was trying to pick which 3 aren't, and I missed some of them. I know Far Cry 6 they showed, and that one's not. And then Diablo 2 is not. And then there's one other one somewhere in there that is not coming to Game Pass.
Stalker 2?
Oh, is that it?
I didn't see
sense.
Stalker 2 labeled for Game Pass. I could be wrong.
Okay. The first game they showed after Starfield.
After
the first game they showed after Starfield. Yeah, so let's start there. Starfield is coming out November 11th, 2022. 11 years to the date after Skyrim's launch.
Why? It's not even It's not even Elder Scrolls. Like
11/11/22 is a satisfying date.
It is. But just knowing Bethesda and how buggy their games are, why are you putting a release date on this so far out? A specific release date. Like, I don't feel like there's any other games in 2022 that have a specific release date, and this one's like November 11th.
Yeah,
Very weird.
Not that far. Like, we have one for like Pokemon Legends.
I guess, but that is like the start of the year.
January. This is November. Like, we're a year and 5 months away from this game.
Like, it's fine if you had that in your plans. I'm just just confused why you decided to announce it now, a year and a half beforehand, that it's coming out on a specific date. We also saw nothing. It was just a trailer that looked like space.
Yeah.
Yep.
For people,
which is what I assume the game looked like.
For people who are getting excited about it, my question is, what was there? It was just dudes in space in a cinematic. Again,
it was in-engine stuff. Which said,
which is good. But I don't know.
So it wasn't just like a cinematic trailer, like CG.
True.
Like, it was a look at what the game will probably look like.
I guess.
But I feel like these games always look a little worse when they actually come out than they do in these reveals.
Yeah, probably will. I don't know. It didn't really do anything for me. Maybe it's because I'm also not like a huge Bethesda fan. I'm sure the people who are like big on Skyrim and big on Fallout are really excited for it. But again, I think it was just because there was no gameplay whatsoever, where I was just like, okay, cool, Starfield.
Yeah,
it's a ways off.
It's there.
It exists.
Yeah, people. I just want to say, I thought this Xbox presentation I thought it was okay. But then I saw people like that will go down as an all-time great E3 presentation. I'm like, I just did not feel that way. Maybe it's because I'm not into first-person shooters that much, and that's like half of what they showed off. but yeah. All right, so that's Starfield coming out November of 2022. Stalker 2. Long trailer, man.
It was.
That thing was way too long, and I don't feel like I know that much.
Oh, also going back on Starfield for a second, they confirmed it's an Xbox exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they did.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
Something we were wondering about.
With this presentation, we got a little bit of insight onto what the possible exclusive front was going to be looking like in terms of Bethesda going forward. So, interesting to see that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stalker 2 is pretty darn long, especially for a game that's not Microsoft, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's coming to Game Pass. Like, of all the games on here, interesting decision to make this one of the longer presentations. We talked about Forza Horizon 5. At the very least, that is first party, pretty big deal. Stalker 2, interesting pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting pick for how long that went. And that's also a 2022 date. They were throwing out a lot of 2022 in this Xbox presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going on in April. Back for Blood, got another look at that. That is coming to Game Pass. That was the big news. Day one coming to Xbox Game Pass. Contraband,
that was
Game
nothing.
Pass exclusive.
The best part of that
What
trailer
even
was
was
the
that?
music to me. The trailer was
Yeah,
nothing.
It was like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
it was just
Contraband was
the-
just the trailer
like a
of basically
garage,
a
right?
still
Guy
shot.
under the car.
People
yeah.
aren't even moving in the trailer. I was like, this is good music. And then it was like Contraband. I'm like, I don't know what that is. And it's done.
Means nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Best E3 presentation ever.
Could be good. I don't know. It's just, it was a very weird
We don't
trailer.
know. That's the thing. We don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing that I feel like is different from this one compared to the Direct is everything they announced basically is coming out within the next 6 months, and there's like tangible stuff to talk about. And this, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that was. It was like a 20-second reveal, and I don't know. Jack Sparrow's coming to Sea of Thieves.
It was cool.
It was neat.
I actually thought that was cool. It's a cool crossover.
What it sounds like, Sea of Thieves has turned into a relatively decent game. People like it a lot, and it looks like this has more story content as well. I remember when the game came out, there really wasn't much of anything in the way of that. It was like make your own stories. So I don't know if they've been doing big updates like this in the past, but in terms of like actual story content, but it looks like there's like kind of a campaign to play through. It looks pretty cool.
Hey, sorry, quick correction. Stalker 2 is Game Pass day one.
Oh, it is?
It is coming to
All
Game Pass
right.
day one, yep.
All right.
The other one that's not is Battlefield. That's the third.
That makes
So
sense.
it's Battlefield, Far Cry, and Diablo are the passes.
From the three big other publishers, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Sea of Thieves, Yakuza Like a Dragon come to Game Pass. The whole series is there now, except for
Where's Dead Souls? Come on.
Oh.
No one cares.
They say the
No one cares.
entire series bogus. No Dead Souls.
Yeah.
Lies.
Kenshin? Where's the PSP one?
Oh yeah, bring those back.
Have you played that yet, Kevin?
No, I have not. Eventually, I'll get to those.
Battlefield 2042 they showed. Psychonauts
there.
2 looked like a PS2 game to me.
Did.
I don't know what you
It
guys
absolutely
thought.
did.
Not
Yes.
Love how that. It looked like a better looking PS2, which maybe is the
Yeah,
goal.
an up-resed PS2 game. Yeah, maybe.
That's
I
what
think
the
it
original Psychonauts was.
originally, yeah.
PS2 and
Yeah.
Xbox. So if you get that style, but cleaned up a little bit for current gen, okay.
Yeah. They showed Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online updates, moving past that. They showed 12 Minutes again, which is coming to Game Pass on day one, and that's like the top-down game about this dude in his apartment who's in a 12-minute time loop. I think that game looks really cool.
It does look good.
That's one
Is
that
that the one with like all the
yeah.
star power in terms of like
James McAvoy.
William
Daisy
Dafoe
Ridley,
was
yeah.
in there?
Yeah, it's weird.
Weird.
Like a movie, a top-down movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't
Yeah.
seem like a big enough game to warrant those. But yeah, it looks like a really interesting concept. Definitely
Yeah,
sticks out
so,
amongst a lot of this.
Yeah, that one looked really neat. I remember when they showed that one off, I think it was 2 years ago.
It's been a little while.
At E3.
That long?
I mean,
Wow.
if it was E3, it was 2 years ago. It was,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was either
E3
that or the
last
Game
year.
Awards. Yeah.
I think it might have been the
that
Game
or the
Awards. I think it was the
Okay.
Game Awards.
Yeah,
Either
but
way,
it's
still
been
been
a
a
while
while.
since we've seen it. Party Animals looks cool. Multiplayer looks like Ragdoll, Fall Guys, Gang Beasts. Yeah, looked fun. Looks cute. Coming to Game Pass. I want Game Pass, man. Did this
Yeah.
presentation make anyone else want Game Pass?
Absolutely.
Where it's just like everything is coming to Game
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah.
Except for the games I don't really care about, which is fine. Battlefield.
I care about Diablo 2. I actually want to play that. And that's
Oh,
one of the
really?
ones that's not. Yeah.
Oh.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Somerville. I don't remember anything about that one. I don't remember. I think it was like a horror. Oh.
Wait, was that the
It
one
was
that
the
was
one
that looked like the Inside
inside.
games? Yeah.
Yep.
That one actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like the dad on the
with the
couch. And he's
family on
just
the couch. Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah, them walking through. I mean, the Inside
Yeah.
game, Inside and what's the other one? The Limbo.
Oh,
I've heard they're
yeah,
very good
Limbo.
games, and this looks to be in that vein.
Yeah.
Could be good.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip Halo for now. I think we can come back around and talk about Halo and Forza, which I think is we're gonna want to talk about the most. So we'll skip past Halo for now. But Diablo 2, I think that looks cool. I've always wanted to play Diablo. That's coming September 23rd. A Plague Tale Requiem is coming to Game Pass. Plague Tale Innocence, and it's coming out on Switch. So Switch Pro, we'll see. 2022, who knows? That was my main takeaway from that. Far Cry 6, Zach has convinced me to play when it's $20, so we're gonna jump into that nonsense.
So this comes out in October, so you guys will probably be
So
playing
yeah,
that around
end
November.
of October. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Watch Dogs Legion was anything to go off of.
Yeah. I'm just gonna rip through some of these. Slime Rancher 2. Stop me if you have anything to say about any of these. These are all coming to Game Pass day and date. Slime Rancher 2, Shredders.
I will say
Atomic
something
Heart.
on Shredders. I hated that logo. It hurt my brain.
Oh my
That
god.
was the one where it was
I
like
do.
Shredders,
Yep.
and then it said Shredders like 4 more
It was
times on like
The
in
face.
green
It was like a
text.
smiley face.
It hurt
Yeah,
my
I remember
brain.
Yeah. It was ugly.
One of my highlights from the presentation was Replaced, which is like that sprite-based, kind of Octopath style, but like more detailed sprite work. Don't know much about it, but it looked a lot like Katana Zero also, and that's coming out in 2022. And that game just looked really atmospheric, really cool music in the trailer, and the art looked great. We don't know much about it though. Grounded, Shroom, and Doom update. I want to know who's playing that game. Who is playing Grounded? I heard about
made
it.
it. The trailer made it seem like people were playing it. I think they were just bluffing.
Yeah, I remember people playing it when it first came out. But yeah, I don't know who's playing it now.
You played it?
No, I'm saying that a lot that
Oh.
I remember hearing a lot of people that played it when it first came out.
Okay.
But it felt like it was in pretty early access. I feel like it's not even like fully done yet. Because on this one they were like now adding achievements, which means that it was not done.
Didn't have. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to look at Aiden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, coming out in 2023. This was the crowdfunded game that is inspired by Suikoden, made by some of the creators. Looked good.
Looks really good.
Speaking of Octopath style
Yeah,
graphics,
absolutely.
like that too. And they also announced like a new 2D action game in the series, Aiden Chronicle Rising, coming out next year. So yeah, I didn't expect to see that one so soon, which makes sense because it's not coming out in 2 years.
So soon as it comes out in 2 years.
Yeah.
Looks good though.
Yeah. The Ascent. What was that? There's so much that just blurs.
Oh my god.
This presentation.
I forgot.
I don't
The
remember.
Ascent.
Age of Empires 4 is
I'm looking forward to
exclusive
that.
on the Game Pass. That's cool. Want to talk about that, Kevin?
I just have very fond memories of playing Age of Empires 2, Age of Kings, and the series has been dormant since Age of Empires 3 in like the mid to late 2000s, which people didn't really like. So this one looks like it's going back to the style of the original Age of Empires 1 and 2, and I had a bunch of fun playing through those. I've tried to get into Civilization, and to some extent, I've enjoyed playing those games. But there's something about Age of Empires where it feels a little bit more, a little bit smaller scale, where you're like building these actual like cities and commanding like all these individual troops to go out and do these things. I'm just very excited that Age of Empires is coming back, and that I don't have to wait too long in October. Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully,
I just looked up the trailer for The Ascent, and I can't even describe it. That's how generic it looks.
I can describe it. It's the most generic 4-player co-op shooter. It was one of the 4, 5, 6 of those that they showed off, including their one more thing.
But yeah, Age of Empires 4 looks good. I am very excited for that.
Outer Worlds 2, Zach thought it was Fable at first, based on the narration.
So,
but it was
that was pretty tongue in cheek. Although it just made me question why they were announcing it at all.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the exclusive things, that will also be exclusive, which means that Outer Worlds is technically a series now, with the first one coming out multi-platform. So that means that no matter what it is, if it's come out on previous platforms, that may not weigh into Microsoft's decision whatsoever to make it exclusive or not. I
Yeah.
think that was probably my biggest takeaway from the Outer Worlds 2 is that it is an Xbox exclusive.
That's a pretty big deal. They announced a couple of those Starfield, Outer Worlds, and the internet was like, "How dare you make them exclusive?" You love it when Sony makes exclusives.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
guys.
Yep.
yeah. And then all the same people are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
just get a PlayStation if you want to play all these games." And then anything comes to Xbox, and like, ugh, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, good for them. I mean, they're creating a Western RPG niche on Xbox with Starfield and the Outer Worlds. Just this, I mean, not my total type of game, so I'm not like super devastated it's Xbox exclusive. I don't have an Xbox, but the fact that you can play Game Pass day and date now, Outer Worlds 2, Starfield, all this stuff is incredible. That's honestly my main takeaway from this whole presentation was Game Pass. It was the star because like basically there wasn't a ton I was super excited about, but if there was something like mildly things, well, if I had Game Pass, I could just try it and see if it hooks me. And that's what was so good about this presentation. Last couple things. We'll start with Redfall, which is from Arcane, Dishonored developers. It was their one more thing. They said Arcane, Zach got hyped, and then we saw it, and it's another co-op 4-player shooter with vampires in this.
But we don't know how it plays because it was entirely
Not even
cinematic.
a little bit.
It was like a 4 minutes.
A really long cinematic trailer. I think looked okay, just graphically. I don't think the concept looks very intriguing.
Is that actually what the game's going to look like, you know?
I doubt it.
Like
I
some of
highly
these
doubt
trailers, like again with Starfield, can you, like if you say like, oh, that looks all right, it's like, who knows what the game's going to be like when it actually comes out? Who knows?
Yeah. One of the things that this trailer kind of piqued my interest on is that Arcane Studio games, like the Dishonored franchise, they handle magic powers really well. And the characters in the cinematic trailer had like some weird magical powers going on, like with shooting magic arrows and stuff like that. So I think that could maybe be handled pretty well. But in order to know that, we'd have to see at least a little bit of gameplay, which we haven't. So it's still up in the air. But right now it's looking pretty unappealing. And it's an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, it is, which means whatever comes next in Dishonored,
probably
Probably an exclusive.
Yeah.
No PC.
Yeah, but Zach wants a Series S.
I do. Game Pass has sold me on a Series S all digital.
I mean, like, now that this almost confirms that whatever comes next from Dishonored Arcane is going to be Xbox exclusive, and Fable's coming out.
Yeah.
It's time. And Halo. All the Halos prior to Infinite and Infinite.
Forza.
Yeah.
Forza, absolutely.
Microsoft
I'd
Flight
love to
Simulator,
try.
which looked really cool. Finally coming
Did
out.
look pretty cool, yeah.
Month. Yeah. And then the last two we'll talk about Halo, Infinite. I'm a little disappointed with what they showed. I wanted to see campaign gameplay. Because it's been a year since we saw it and people hated it. And they're like, okay, we're hiring managers, taking it in a different direction. And then we didn't see gameplay from the campaign. It's like, what does the campaign look like? We saw some of the multiplayer, which looked like Halo multiplayer, which is a good thing. It could have looked like not Halo multiplayer, like this studio's kind of been creating the last few years. But it looked good. It looked fine. But I wanted to see more of the campaign stuff because to me, it's like, yeah, the multiplayer is going to be the multiplayer. It's free to play.
And it's free, yeah. If you're going to be buying, I mean, I guess if you've got Game Pass, it doesn't really matter. But if you're buying any version of this game, you are buying the campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. So the multiplayer is free to play. They're doing like the battle pass subscription model like Fortnite does, where every season there's a new set of stuff that you can buy through that pass. So, and it works for Fortnite. It'll probably work for this. I think it's cool that it's free to play, but I just wanted to see the campaign. All we saw was him talking to some copy of Cortana, and it's like, how many Halo games does Cortana have to be the main focus of the plot? Can we do something else? It's always about Cortana, almost exclusively now, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, come on.
So
where's Locke?
When they were like, and you won't be going it alone.
Yeah, I was like Locke.
No! But then it was just Cortana, which is equally a cop-out? I don't know. But I was a little bummed with what we saw. I know they did a multiplayer showcase later, and people thought that the multiplayer was looking good. I didn't see it myself. But I care about this open world they're creating for Halo. It's a totally new thing, and we didn't see more of it.
Yeah, what?
And they didn't give a date!
They didn't. There was wasn't there that section where they were kind of doing this like pan over shot of like what looked like
Yeah.
an open world with all this open area, but they
Yeah.
didn't really show you like traversing in the world. It was basically just here it is. You're not going to see
Yeah.
playing through it. Yeah, wonder how that's going to work. And then yeah, it was very, very interesting that they still don't want to slap a date down on this. They did continue to say it's coming out this year. They said holiday. Don't know what that means,
Yeah.
when exactly in holiday that's coming out, but just a little interesting that after this long delay that they're still not comfortable putting a date on it yet.
Yeah. It's kind of disappointing. You gave a date to Starfield, but you didn't give a
I
date.
mean, that's
not Halo
Bethesda. They're
Infinite
off
coming
doing
out
their own
this
thing.
year.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, they're the publishers now. So I don't
True.
know. Yeah, I don't know. But that was Halo. But then what really was a highlight of the show, Forza Horizon 5. It's coming out November 9th.
Oh yeah,
And it looked
it
amazing.
looked gorgeous, and
Looked about as realistic as you could conceively get.
yeah,
Yeah, is
so,
this the best looking video game right now? Is this the number
Probably.
one looking game?
Honestly.
Probably,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, they're going to Mexico, and I think it's a very good idea going to Mexico, kind of in the same vein that Australia was a really good pick for Forza Horizon 3. From what I've heard from Forza Horizon 4, the area looks fantastic in the UK, but it all kind of looks the same. Like there's not too much variation in terms of what the UK offers. It's kind of all very similar. But in the same way that Australia was, you've got like these really nice beaches. You've got the basically like rainforest looking places. You've got the cities. You've got these like mountains. That mountain area looks super cool. I'm really excited to just be romping around on this like volcanic mountain going up to like really high altitudes.
Yeah.
It just looks like the map is very varied, depending on the area that you go to. And the other thing that was really cool to me was that it's not only just dynamic weather of depending on the time of day, the weather changes. It's like depending on where you are, the weather is different. So like, hey, if you're going up onto the mountain, maybe there's snow up there. You hop on down to the beach and it's beautiful blue skies, and you're going to a different area and it's rain. Like that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game looks gorgeous.
It looks cool. This would be something like to be fun to play with you guys. Like,
It's all they make a
play
big
this
deal
game.
out of multiplayer, online multiplayer. It's been in the last couple of Horizon games. I think they're going even more all out with this one. Yeah, looks really good. I'm very
Kevin, are you
excited.
interested in an Xbox Series S or X?
Join us.
But yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Now
Game
this-
Pass, man. It's so worth it.
My prediction was wrong. I thought that because of Halo, they weren't going to make it come out this year, but it is coming out in November, November 9th. I don't think I would get it.
What does that say about Halo?
Yeah.
It's gonna make
Not
it.
confident anymore.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
since they don't want to put a date down, maybe they made it that was more comfortable to put Forza Horizon down. But in terms of getting an Xbox, because I'm planning to get a PlayStation so soon, I probably don't think I'd double dip on consoles right away. But maybe in 2022 or something, I'd pick up some form of the Xbox, especially when there's a lot more games that are coming out. And probably by next year, they're going to have a lot more stuff to show from some of these other developers. But at the very least, Forza Horizon 5 looks like a system seller to me, especially for people who are into racing games in any way.
Honestly, me too.
Yeah.
I want to try it. I want to play it. I might be on Series S watch starting now. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. But like, if I see one, I might just grab it because, like, I want to play Halo, and I'm worried that when we get to the fall, these things won't be findable. They won't be available, and it's like, so maybe I should just start preparing for that now. And yeah, we'll see. But I'd go the Series S route. I'm not ready to drop another 500 after getting the PlayStation last year. But I think that I could afford the Series S at this point.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. Forza
Zach wants a
Horizon
Series
5
S more
was-
than a PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. Maybe. Just
As-
depends on
as
what's
a-
available first.
As a PlayStation fan? Really?
Yeah, well, once those PlayStation exclusives that are solely PS5 start rolling out, maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, Game Pass is pretty enticing.
Man, just Xbox in general in terms of like Game Pass and in terms of user friendliness with
Yeah.
backwards compatibility and cross-gen. I was looking at Lost Judgment before just a couple of days ago because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have a PS5 by the time it comes out. And if you're buying a physical version, it's like, oh, which one do you get? But then Xbox makes it super simple if you have an Xbox Series X to be able to play it physically. Or if you don't, if you have an Xbox One, it says right on the box, like, hey, Xbox One version and Xbox Series version is right in the box. Like, man, I wish PlayStation was as user-friendly in terms of those things like Xbox is, because it can be very annoying sometimes. Be like, what is this for? Is this going to have an upgraded version? Does this work? Like,
Yeah.
Xbox is knocking it out of the park with that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's move on from Xbox. Let's rip through Square Enix.
Great stuff in these
We're starting to go a
presentations.
little long. We got to get to our final thoughts here. So I'm just going to read the entire show, not a lot. So we got Guardians of the Galaxy. That was 20 minutes. I thought it looked fine. Well, I'll hear what you guys think in a second. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 remasters only coming to Steam and mobile.
Nasty.
Legend of Mana, Avengers update, Hitman Sniper, mobile. Nier Reincarnation, mobile. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, mobile. Final Fantasy The First Soldier, mobile. Babylon's Fall, that Platinum game, looked like crap. Life is
Did you
Strange
see that one
Remastered
section of it where it was like really blurry? Like,
Yeah.
there were like the game already didn't
Yeah.
look great, and then there was one shot where I was like, "This looks terrible. Why did they leave this in?"
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really bad. And I don't want to sound like I'm dumping on developers. I'm not. I'm dumping on them for including it in the presentation. It's like, if it's not ready, that's fine. I get it. Game development is hard. It's been a brutal year for that. But just don't show it. Like, if it looks like that,
I
just
think
don't
Square
show it
Enix
to
was
us.
grasping at straws here
Yeah.
of what to show.
Life is Strange Remastered Collection. That one cracked me up because they did like the before and after, and it barely looked any different.
Yeah.
So that was terrible. True Colors coming September 10th. I'm very excited for that. I think that game looks really good.
It does.
And then the story of the presentation here: Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. It's that team that's supposed to be like a Souls-like Final Fantasy. It's coming out next year. That's a horrible trailer. That trailer was so bad.
Do you know
Kevin,
it was
wrote
even
chaos
worse than
here
the
on our
trailer?
document.
The demo.
Demo.
The demo
did
that
not
was
work.
entirely broken.
It did. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Chaotic, man. It's chaos.
It's
for you.
chaos, man. The amount of times that dude said chaos was insane. And how it just
I want to be a fly on the writing room for this game.
and
Like,
how they
we
just
need more
went full
chaos.
on, and it's like, okay, this guy needs to have no personality. Because all he said was, I've got one goal. I've got to kill chaos. We're here to kill chaos. Chaos is in the next room. Are you chaos? Like, it was just the same thing. Let alone the character design is nothing.
Boring.
And then
He's just wearing like a t-shirt, basically, like a plain
and then his
t-shirt.
personality is nothing. Did you see
Yeah.
they had like a write-up afterwards of the characters, and it was like the main guy wants to kill chaos, and then the other two guys was basically like supports him wanting to kill chaos.
Oh no! And then
That's so good.
Tetsuya Nomura, who did characters, said, "I wanted to make a story about an angry man." Well, I guess that's what this looks
You
like.
did. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's gonna work out for you or if that's gonna be any good. Yeah, what a way to cap it off with that.
Yeah.
Square Enix was bad.
Yeah.
It was really,
Real
really
bad.
And then Guardians was 20 minutes, and it looked fine. It didn't look great. It looked fine. That some of the choice-based stuff looked cool, like how depending on who you choose to side with, the other Guardians get mad at you, and that can impact how they act later. I always hope that actually works out as cool as it could be in practice, but I thought the game looked fine. There were like 4 natural ending points. So finally, they're done. And then it kept going, and they're like, interview, gameplay, more gameplay, another montage that just has the same trailer recut in a different order. It was insane how long they talked about.
And that they went right back to Marvel afterwards. They're like, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Avengers.
here's these Final
Yeah.
Fantasy games that people are going to be really disappointed by because mobile. Legend of Mana, back to Marvel with Avengers. Yeah, not a good presentation.
Yeah,
Speaking
and
of-
then
Speaking of not good, the next one.
Oh my god. Yeah, I will say they also did a little montage of stuff out now. Final Fantasy VII Intergrade is in there. Zach and I played it. I don't think we have time to talk about it this week, so you can hear DLC
next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ubisoft, Rainbow Six, who cares?
I will
Rocksmith,
say,
who cares?
out of all of these ones, this is the one that I didn't even watch because it came out. I watched these late because timing is bad here. And I was like, there is no way Ubisoft's presentation warrants it being 25 minutes longer than Microsoft's.
Oh
there is nothing in here that warrants that.
And the only good thing got leaked. Mario was Rabbids.
And also showed up at Nintendo's presentation too.
Yeah, Sparks of Hope. So it is a sequel. It looks like it's Mario Galaxy. It's Mario Rabbids goes Mario Galaxy, basically. Rabbid Rosalina's there.
Yeah.
Luma Rabbids, which are an abomination.
Yeah, but I mean, Rabbids are already kind of an abomination, so, you know.
But looked good.
Well,
looks like they're changing up the gameplay. There's free range motion. Yeah, I still need to play the first one, but I think it's cool. It's getting a sequel.
It's on sale for people who are interested. It's on sale. It's really cheap. $15 for the gold edition.
Oh man, nice.
Very cheap.
Yeah, but it's coming out next year, and it lends credence to we're rebuilding the 2017 lineup in 2022 with Zelda, Splatoon, and now this.
Yeah, going back to the same wells.
Yeah, and then Avatar.
Saw nothing. It was just a cinematic trailer. Who really cares about Avatar right now?
Gorgeous. It looked gorgeous.
In the forest.
And then they showed the characters, and the characters.
I was honest. I was expecting Vin Diesel to show up again.
What game was
that? Oh my god.
That was that like massively multiplayer one. Not Ark.
Yeah. I think I also thought that it was Ark.
It's like, where's Vin Diesel? Yeah.
All right, I think Kevin, are we doing our best and worst of now?
Yeah.
Wrap things up.
There was really nothing else in Ubisoft.
Yeah, not worth talking about.
Did you guys watch any of that? Like, cause I basically
caught the end of
watched the Mario Rabbids trailer. That was really it.
I was like, I'll turn it on to see when Mario Rabbids shows up, and then it's the last thing, and I just sat through that Ubisoft press conference. Yeah.
That was a mess. Yeah, so we'll go with your biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, and the game you are most excited to play in the future. I guess I'll go through mine first really quick here. I guess biggest surprise would honestly be Advance Wars, even if I'm not a big fan of it, just because it's one of those series, kind of like F-Zero, where you think it's dead. And F-Zero, I've never played one of those games, but if it shows back up again, it would probably be my biggest surprise, just because it is basically dormant. So just to see Advance Wars come back, and just to see all of the people super excited for it was really great to see. That was definitely the biggest surprise. Biggest disappointment, I'll go with two. One, everything besides Microsoft and Nintendo, honestly, was a huge disappointment because they kind of propped up the rest of this. And then just going back to my predictions didn't really turn out too well. No Odyssey 2. I'll just say that was a disappointment, even though
no sports story either.
Oh, no sports story. That too.
Yep.
No sports story. Even if their Twitter account is making more posts.
Yep, it's picking up steam.
Yeah, after that post, I was like, "This is gonna happen," and then it didn't. So that was disappointing. And then, game that I'm most excited to play: Forza Horizon 5. Even if I don't have an Xbox to play it, out of all these games, I think it is the one I've the most tied to. And man, that game looks gorgeous.
It does.
Looks super good. I'll throw it to Zach next. What are your three?
So my biggest surprise of all of E3, I would say the thing I was most hyped for was the reveal of a new Smash character. I wasn't expecting it to be Kazuya from Tekken. That really caught me off guard. I think that would be by far the biggest surprise. I was very happy about it. It was a good surprise, which makes it stand out amongst all the other crappy surprises of E3. So I want to highlight that one the most.
Yeah.
Then the biggest disappointment of E3 had to have happened. It happened twice during the Microsoft presentation. The first one where Playground was just rattling off a bunch of stuff and then no Fable. And then they were like, oh, we're still working on Fable. So it got briefly passed by, but we got nothing for it. So that was really disappointing. And then the one last thing being set up as, look at this new thing from Arcane Studios and not being Dishonored 3 broke my heart a little bit. So those were two of my biggest disappointments for E3. And then the thing that I'm most hyped to play is absolutely probably Breath of the Wild 2, of course, the big end of the Nintendo Direct. Just it looks really good. Big Zelda fan now than I was when the first Breath of the Wild came out. This is just something that I'm extremely looking forward to now.
Yeah. My biggest surprise, I gotta go Metroid Dread. Like, I was like, oh, cool, new 2D Metroid. And then Zach was watching with me. When Dread showed up on the screen, I lost my mind. I just could not believe
losing it. I had no idea why.
You're like, oh, Metroid.
It meant nothing to me. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was just stunned. I think it's such a cool announcement, and I really hope it's and I hope it's good. But yeah, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play Metroid Dread. I thought that was an awesome reveal, and we didn't really talk about the gameplay in the Treehouse. Treehouse was really good, but Dread looked really, really, really cool. So that was my biggest surprise. Biggest disappointment, I have two as well. Halo, like I said, I want to see more of the campaign. This was one of my big games to watch going into E3. I thought I was really going to own it, and it didn't, which doesn't inspire much confidence in that game, which it needs. And then Square Enix, I really wanted to see Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2, even like a teaser, and we didn't. And I saw a good point that those are PS5 exclusives or PlayStation exclusive. We don't know about PS4 or PS5 for 7. But maybe Sony will do an event later in the summer and they'll be there instead.
Maybe.
But Square Enix needed something like that because that was terrible.
They didn't have
that was
anything.
Really bad. Yeah. And then Breath of the Wild 2. Most excited to play. It's not till next year, but it's got to be that. Like, I was worried. I'm like, how are they going to make this look and feel different than the original? And that trailer looks and feels so different. It looks entirely different, and I'm just super excited to see what all these little threads they've been teasing turn into. And I thought that was a great return trailer for it after 2 years. I think we have a lot more to think about while we wait another year for the next trailer.
For the next trailer, yeah.
Exactly.
Even when it comes
but
out,
I thought it looked great. I thought it looked gorgeous too. I'm super excited that they're building this game for Switch because Breath of the Wild was a Wii U game they brought to Switch, and this thing is gonna look even better.
Speaking of graphics, never saw anything about the Switch Pro, both before or during. Nope. So all of those predictions of like they're gonna show it before E3. I mean, we even were like, "Oh, it's probably gonna happen." Never did.
Yeah, because just so many outlets were like, "Yep, it's happening," and then it just didn't.
So I guess continue to stay on the Switch Pro watch, because if those rumors are anything to go off of, they were gonna enter production and be out in like the fall. And
if it's a thing, which I believe it will, they're going to upgrade the Switch at some point. It's going to come out with Zelda. I've got to think it's coming out with Zelda at this point. I don't think it's coming this year anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want a flagship title for it. You want to try to.
Come in with Metroid.
Come with Dread.
Metroid Dread.
That'd be an interesting pick. All right, we've been going pretty long. Any final thoughts on E3 before we wrap up for this week?
There's a poster debacle at GameStop that Zach and I were part of. Real quick, this Zelda 30 over the weekend, and then GameStop announced it, and they're like, but to get this, you need to spend $30 on Zelda merchandise. And I'm like, I'm not buying Skyward Sword.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm not buying a T-shirt or a mug
or a puzzle.
And so I asked the guy, I'm like, can I pre-order Mario Golf and get this thing? It's still Nintendo. And he's like, nope, because Nintendo comes to this store and they will get mad at me, Zelda. And so I put $5 down on Skyward Sword to get this poster, and I'm going to cancel it. So I basically paid $5 for the poster.
That's not too bad a deal. $5 for a poster ain't bad.
Yeah, but it was dumb.
Yeah, good old GameStop. They're trying to sell all that merchandise that is just sitting on their shelves for forever. You got to buy $30 in pop figures or something.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right, I think we should wrap it up here. We're going on well over an hour. That will do it for us on this week's episode of Ode to Games. Back to a more normal setup next week now that E3 is done. So back to more normal stuff next week. We'll see what sort of news trickles in after E3 to talk about as well. But we're here on Thursdays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other podcast streaming services that you may use. OdeToGames.com has the audio version of the podcast. The video version is up on YouTube, Ode to Games, so you can check that out there. We're on Twitch, Ode to Games, Twitter at Ode to Games as well. You can send an email to odetogamescast@gmail.com. For Logan and Zach, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.